Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is chapter 93 of Touched. This one is titled A New Babysitter. Just a little side note before we start. At the time that I wrote this book, we didn't have a name nor description of Hawks' mum, so I made up my own. So this is not canon. I just thought it would be really cute that she's the only one that can handle Hiyoko. We didn't know if she had wings or not wings or what the go was, so now we do know. But yeah, again, this was just made up by myself, so just roll with it. The next day, Hawks came home early to take Hiyoko out for a fly. The poor little thing had felt very much grounded by the brace on his wings and had been very restless all day. "Okay, Nugget, let's stretch those wings out, huh?" Hawks said brightly as he picked up his little bundle and walked to the front door with him in arms. "We'll be back for dinner, Mama," he called over his shoulder. Be careful," you replied. Careful. What does that word mean again?" Hawks commented to Hiyoko as they left. You shook your head with a smile. Once outside, Hawks took the brace off Hiyoko and the little one immediately flapped his wings as Hawks put him down. "Hey, bud, easy there," Hawks said with a chuckle as he stood back. Hiyoko took to the skies and Hawks laughed as he took off after him. The two had a great time in the air, flicking around upside down, dive-bombing and racing, right up until the sun had nearly set. "How'd you go, Daddy?" you asked Hawks when he and Hiyoko returned. "We had so much fun, didn't we, Nugs?" Hawks asked the pooped-out little bundle. Hiyoko gave you a very tired smile. "Okay, well, dinner's ready," you said as you turned and led the way in. Little Hiyoko ate his dinner like it was the last meal on earth, and then he had a bath and was put to bed early because he was falling asleep as you were drying him after his bath. "Man, he was exhausted," you said with a chuckle as you exited Hiyoko's room after putting him to sleep. You walked over to where Hawks had flopped face down on the couch, and the winged hero stirred slightly. "Looks like you're wasted too," you added with a chuckle. "That kid can fly," Hawks said as he lifted his head from the cushions and gave you a dead look. You laughed. "I'm glad you two had fun flying out there," you said with a smile as you sat down at the end of the lounge. Hawks pushed himself up and turned around so that his head was in your lap, perfectly placed for you to stroke his hair. "Hiyoko will need to learn that he's not to fly in the house," you said as you raked your fingers through Hawks' hair. "He could damage his wings otherwise." Hawks purred as his eyes rolled shut. "I might need to enroll him in a flight care group or something so that he can go flying heaps and get it out of his system," you commented. "Sounds good," Hawks replied drowsily, under the spell of your fingers in his hair. "I'm happy to take him out each afternoon, but he'll be climbing the walls during the day if he's not taken out." "Yeah," he said thoughtfully. "I'll ring around a few places tomorrow." Over the next few days, you rang a few training places to see if they would take on an almost 7-month-old baby with a winged quirk. Most places jumped at the opportunity when it was revealed that it was the winged hero Hawks' son. They all wanted the publicity and the bragging rights, but then when it came for them to take him out for a fly, they couldn't keep up with him. "I'm sorry, ma'am," the last instructor said. "He's a very spirited child, and his large wingspan gives him a steep advantage. No one can keep up with him." "Okay, thank you," he said with a heavy sigh as he put the brace back on Hiyoko's wings. That night you talked to Hawks about your problem as you sat with him on the lounge. "No one's fast enough to keep up with Hiyoko," you said sadly. Hawks listened quietly, thinking to himself. "I may be able to find someone for you," he said with a small smile. "I'll contact them now and see if they can come by tomorrow afternoon." "Okay," you asked suspiciously. "Who is it?" "Someone I'm not supposed to be in contact with," Hawks replied with a devious but nervous smile. "But since when do I play by the rules?" You raised an eyebrow at him and he chuckled as he reached across and patted your knee. "Trust me, okay? It'll be fine," he replied with a reassuring smile. The next afternoon you waited impatiently for the person to arrive, and around 4 p.m. there was a soft knock at the door. "Ooh, wonder who that could be," you said with a smile at Hiyoko, who was playing on the floor. You walked to the door and nervously opened it. "Hello," an older lady with a pleasant face and piercing golden eyes like Hawks said. "Hi," you replied softly. "My name is Mrs. Takami," she said with a warm smile. You're... you said in a shocked voice as your mouth fell open. She nodded. "It's so lovely to meet you," she said as she stretched her golden wings a little. Same, you said softly, still not knowing quite what to say. "May I come in?" she asked gently. "Oh, sure, yes, of course," you replied as you stepped back and let her in. "My son told me briefly about your troubles with finding a flight instructor," she said as she spied Hiyoko and walked over to him. Your little one looked up and smiled brightly when he saw Mrs. Takami and her wings. He vibrated his little wings gently and let out a few little chirps of greeting. "Oh, you're so much like Kei when he was a baby," she said with a little chuckle as she bent down and picked him up. You hung back a bit, nervously wringing your hands together. You've raised him so well. Yin Takami. Wait, you already know my last name. It's the same as yours. Duh, you said with an embarrassed laugh. Sorry, I'm just a little nervous. What's there to be nervous about? She asked gently with a smile that could light up a Christmas tree. Well, I'm your daughter-in-law all of a sudden, you said with a swept-drop look on your face. I haven't even met you up until now. Well, I'm just glad we met, and you've given me such a beautiful grandson too, she replied. Hiyoko seemed very happy in his grandma's arms, and happily played with the buttons on her top. Oh, okay, he said bashfully. Thank you. Do you mind if I take him out to stretch his wings? She asked. Sure, he replied. You're welcome. He loves flying. She smiled. Just like his father, she replied as she looked down at Hiyoko in her arms. She strolled to the door and you followed her, helping her to take the brace off. Hiyoko spread his wings and flapped them eagerly. Okay, little one, she said as she tossed him up in the air. Instinctively he flapped his wings and she shot up into the air beside him. You covered your mouth with worry, but she seemed to be very experienced and knew how to handle the wayward winged baby. You watched as they disappeared out of sight and then went back inside. Just then Hawks turned up. Your mum came, you blurted out as he entered. He laughed. I'm not supposed to be in contact with family since the government's given me a new identity, Hawks said. But if she could handle me as a child, then she can handle Hiyoko. She most certainly knows how to deal with him. I saw it with my own eyes, he replied. Hawks fell silent and looked up, a strange expression crossing his chiselled face. They're coming back, he said softly, as he then looked at the front door. I haven't seen her since I left. You watched as he walked slowly to the front door. As he got closer, there was a soft knock on the sturdy wooden frame, and he opened it. Hi, Mum, he said in an emotionally raw voice. My boy, you heard her reply in a teary voice. All aboard the Feels train, which will depart and head into Chapter 94.